Good morning. Good morning. Wow. That's a wake-up class, huh? Hi, good morning. My name is Dave Manzo. I'm the president of Cotting School. I'm here to welcome you this morning to the 5th annual Burr Family Conference at Cotting School. We're very happy to have you here. Just a little bit about Cotting for folks who don't know us. Started in 1893. It was the first school of its kind in America, started by 2 docs in Boston Children's Hospital. And since that time, we've tried to be a source of both innovation and great care for children with special needs. Could I get a show of hands for folks who are here for the first time? Wow, thank you for joining us. We're really happy to have you here. If you've never been to Cotting before, and you'd like to come back during the school day, we have information sessions every month. You're welcome to come through and see our kids in action. We're very proud of them. How about a show of hands of people who are current or former Cotting parents? So there are folks around, and if you see their hands, don't hesitate to talk to them today. They can give you the real scoop about Cotting, and we're very happy to have them with us here today. We love our students and we love our families here at Cotting. So I'm very, very pleased today to have with us Patrick Downs and Deborah Downs. I've known Patrick for 10 years, met him just after his graduation from Boston College, and then through Patrick I got to meet his mom. So we have a long and rich history together. And the more we thought about today, and the more we thought about the theme of the whole child, we really thought it made sense to ask them to be our keynote speakers and to talk about their experiences. And it's very interesting because Patrick worked at a school for children with special needs, and Patrick is also has a degree in clinical psychology, so he's technically Dr. Downs. Deborah has been a lifelong educator in the field of special education. She's been a school administrator. She does a lot of work in professional development. So these are 2 people from our field who have not only a unique experience because of the marathon bombing, but a unique experience because they have lived their whole lives in our realm of education. So I'm really happy to have them with us. So what we decided to do is kind of a little bit of a moderated conversation. So I'll ask a couple questions to get things going, and we'll take it from there. So welcome to the 2 of you. So let me start off with this. So Patrick, as a professional in our field, and whose focus really your whole life has been on the whole person, the whole child, how did that professional expertise prepare you for what you faced after the marathon bombing?
So we took some time, the 3 of us and Lindsay, to talk about these questions ahead of time. And I thought I had my answer, and then I got all messed up on the car ride here because I was listening to Father Greg Boyle, who's a Jesuit priest, and it kind of brought me back to my roots of remembering how my parents brought me up in this tradition of appreciating and loving the whole person. But well before I had any formal education or work experience, that the way that they lived their lives as educators was just in that spirit. And that's the way that they raised my brother and I. And then having gone to 8 years of Jesuit schooling, high school and college, there was such an emphasis on how we care for the entire person, their body, their mind, their spirit. And so when my wife and I were injured at the 2013 marathon bombing, little did we know that even when we were in this state of confusion, of heavy doses of medication, we had this whole team around us caring for each aspect of that whole person, our bodies, our minds, and our spirits. And we were so fortunate to have that because, as you as educators know, or you as parents know, it really takes a strong team to be able to care for each child, each student. And we were so fortunate to have that. And we also had a community around us, not just our clinicians, but this wider community of support that was there to care for each aspect of us as we recovered through such a tragic time.
Thanks. How did your family's experience in the wake of the marathon bombing influence your perspective on the whole child as an educator, as somebody who has been in this field and thinking about this for really a whole lifetime of professional development?
I'm really honored to be here. I love this school. I love the work that occurs here. So it's really been a dream of mine to have more of a connection to this school. But as a special educator of like 45 years experience in the field, I had facilitated countless IEP meetings. You know, you've got your OT, your PT, your speech and language, your educator, your psychologist, all these people at the table. And I regularly was the facilitator of those meetings. The parent would be there, and there would have been some conversation off to the side about how the child was doing, what the data suggested, and then we bring it to the meeting, and we kind of unload all that data on parents and come to some kind of conclusion in our 15-minute time block. I worked only in public schools, and the time was really limited because we had subs or whatever to cover the classes, and people had to get back. And then the tables turned. I was plummeted back into being the parent of a child with a disability at the ripe old age. Patrick is 29 at this point. And my husband and I sat at a meeting about 7 or 8 days after the bombing. Patrick is in really poor condition. He's not getting better. He's got a very bad infection. There are all kinds of things going on. And my husband and I are again at a meeting. But I'm not facilitating this time. I'm one of the recipients of the information. And all of these practitioners, the infectious disease person, the pain person, the orthopedic surgeon, the plastic surgeon, all these people have gathered. And they have all collaborated beforehand. They've already talked a little bit to each other about the meeting they're planning for my husband and me, Ryan. And they're going to go over, they want to take Patrick's knee off. Patrick at this time had a BK, below knee, and they couldn't control his infections and all, and they wanted to take his knee out. And they were trying to market that as being not that big a deal. That Patrick would be okay, that an AK or a BK, they were kind of commensurate. But there was something in me that said, well, hold on now. Do we have all the data before we make a move like that? Not unlike maybe a special ed parent might say at a meeting, hold on now. Do we really know, have we investigated every possible opportunity? Do we really know what the challenges are here? Are we being really as clear and with the possible choices we have? And I remember feeling that for all of the thousands of meetings that I had facilitated throughout my career, I felt such a level of powerlessness and such a wanting them to both respect me and to listen to me. It was a very hard time because Patrick was unavailable for us, and we really felt that there just was something not right. It was a funny kind of special education mother moment for me, and I'll never forget. But we were blessed with an incredibly listening team who heard us. I think my next question talks about what happens next. But, and that made all the difference. The fact that there was something in this team that said, well, yeah, she's kind of pushing against our data. My husband was so overwhelmed, he couldn't even process the information, because it was only about 8 days after the bombing. Our daughter-in-law had lost her leg, the other leg looked awful. It was just this incredibly calamitous time. And we asked them to hold it on, just wait, because we're not sure we really think that that's the right move. Patrick's too much of an athlete to make that decision without really having all the data and not having had, really needing us to weigh in and to deliberate with it a little bit ourselves.
That you talked about was coordination of care, and what a difference it made. Can you follow up on that?
I realized as a patient that I was working just as hard sometimes as the clinicians. I saw them all around me. I saw them all talking with each other, all gathering to take care of me. And I had to work so hard to engage them too, because we were all part of this team. And I saw how their communication, their connection, their trust in each other translated into incredible care for me. And I realized that the more I could be a part of that team as well, just as my mom was striving to be a part of that team to make those critical decisions, the better the results were. They might not have been desirable results. They might have been really upsetting results, but we had all come to that decision together, and I found that to be so powerful. And that's such a theme that comes out, particularly in special education, that you can't just work in your own silo. You have to work amongst all these different dynamics because the kids are so dynamic. And that's why it's so damn hard, it's exhausting, but that's why it's also so much damn fun. Because these kids require our best at all times. They require us to communicate and to collaborate with each other as professionals and as parents, but also with them as students and as incredibly valued members of the team. Because without listening to them, without being present with them, without empowering them, then how do we guide them? How do we educate them? How do we care for them? And what I felt is that my team I was at Beth Israel Deaconess, I was a part of it. And that, I still feel a part of that team. When I go back to that hospital, I still feel like I'm going back to my teammates because I'm high-fiving them and hugging them. These are people who are so ingrained in my experience of being a patient because they empowered me to be so much more than that.
Do you want to comment a little bit more about your professional expertise and advocacy and team building and so forth?
Well, I saw that one moment around taking Patrick's knee or not as being really very seminal in how our relationship developed, and that the medical team really gathered around. They didn't push me away, you know, as can happen sometimes when you don't get a parent who's just like seeing things the way you want them to see it, but they were bringing me in and explaining to me, and then brainstorming possible solutions that were just really out of the box. And I can remember with great gratitude, we were sleeping over with Patrick at night because we were just really wanting to be together. And this beautiful doctor came in around 10 o'clock on a Sunday night, and he said, I've been thinking about you all weekend. And he said, I think I have a solution to get rid of the shrapnel and the dirt and the dust and the infection and all these possible weaknesses that Patrick was really struggling with. And he had this idea that Patrick would go to the Mass Pioneer and go to the hyperbaric chamber. So it looks like, I don't know if anyone's seen the hyperbaric chamber, but they look like something out of like a 1950s kind of Star Wars movie. So it's like, okay, so they brought him in an ambulance there, they put him in the thing, decompressed him for an hour and a half, recompressed him for another half an hour, 45 minutes.
I got to watch SportsCenter the whole time.
This was too, and you know what? They did it every other day for a week, and it worked. It like flushed out his body. It was this really unusual approach, these really high level antibiotics. But I can remember thinking at the end of that, can I give my special education parents. That same feeling of being heard, of being valued, of being respected. I knew that Patrick, if we could save his knee, it would make a difference for him athletically. And he did, in fact, run the Boston Marathon on a prosthetic leg, on my knee.
She created it and then she kept it.
That's right. That's it.
She has real ownership of this deal.
And not every meeting is going to go like that. You know, we're in special ed. We know that things don't always fall in place. Sometimes the decisions are really hard. But I felt so gratified that I had a team of people who respected and loved us and respected and loved Patrick enough to really hear and to try harder. And that hyperbaric chamber that he introduced Patrick to was the tipping point. But I think as special educators, maybe we don't have a hyperbaric chamber at our disposal, but you know, maybe there is an audiology report that should be done. Maybe there is something that a neuropsychologist has identified that could be seminal to our decisions. I do think that there are opportunities for us to delve deeper and not to always come to those meetings and those conclusions thinking that we've kind of got it all set, and that the parent has to be that really critical piece, that really critical contributor to the decisions that are made.
One thing that when my mom and I were reflecting on this last night, that I was of the survivors from the marathon who were treated at Beth Israel, who had amputations. I was the only one who was able to keep a knee. And a lot of the other patients lost their knee. They had above knee amputations. And that's not to say that all of our presentations were the same. Some of the injury levels were very different. And that's not to say that these people didn't bring their world-class, Harvard-educated care to each patient on that floor. But I had my mom who challenged these people to think even further, to think outside the box, to talk to one another, to challenge each other to somehow be better, because I wasn't the only guy who went to that hyperbaric chamber. A lot of other people from my floor also went because my mom kicked their ass to make sure that they did. And so it's also important to realize how what is good for one person, one kid, one student, can also be transformational for all students, because it challenges us to get outside our normal way of thinking and reinvent something, or bring in new strategies to figure out how do we make the best result for these people who are so invested in.
You know, it's not surprising that if you've followed Jess and Pat's life since the bombing, that there's been a lot of selflessness, right? You can see the seed was planted by Deb and her husband many, many years ago. I got up this morning, I was reading the Boston Globe, and there was an interview with Senator Elizabeth Warren in it, and she talked about how her legislative accomplishment this term was a bill that Jess and Pat advocated for, which was that folks who'd been in a terrorist activity could get care at Walter Reed if they needed it. And I thought of a couple things about that. One, how selfless Patrick and Jess have been through this about thinking of others. It wasn't just about them. It was how somebody else could benefit from what happened to them. And then there's another piece of that bill that I thought was really very special, which was, there was a line in it that said, if space were available, because we didn't want to take space away at Walter Reed for vets. So I've always appreciated that thinking that they have had at a variety of levels. You want to talk a little bit about your book and that? Because I think this is really cool.
So my wife and I, when we go out in public, she's missing 2 legs below the knee, and I'm missing 1. So we got 3 metal legs. Plus we have this beautiful neat service dog and there's one over here in the corner too. They are world-class service dogs, the best in the business. So kids see us, their eyes are popping out of their head, their brains are exploding, and they run right into a brick wall because they cannot stop staring. What in the world is happening here with these people and this dog? And what we found is this incredible opportunity to welcome them to pet rescue, which is our dog, as you can see up there. Have them ask questions about what he is capable of doing, how he helps us, to investigate our prosthetics, to check them out, to see how they work, to ask when we use them, when we don't use them. And what I found is that the minute I invite a kid to come and touch my prosthetic, they smile at me. Because all of a sudden it's been demystified. It's not this big scary thing anymore. In fact, it's something to really marvel at and be in awe of. And so what we've done is to try to find a formal way to engage kids in this conversation through our children's book that's coming out in April, because we think that we need to do more to challenge not only kids but adults to think about disability, but also to think about the power that people with disability have, the way that they challenge us to think collaboratively, creatively, the incredible gifts that they bring to our community, the charming accessories that they might have in forms of service dogs, because that demystification is so important. As the reason we're here at this Cotting school, we all have experience with people with disabilities, and we realize their awesome power. That they are full of wonder and amazement, and accomplish things in a day that able-bodied people may not ever accomplish in their lifetime because of their courage and resilience. And I don't say those words in the token way. They are in their purest form. When the kids that you work with or the kids that are your children get up and go to school every day, the courage and resilience and tenacity that they demonstrate cannot be matched. And so we hope to not only educate the public about people with disabilities and about service dogs, but also give kids with disabilities a superhero to look up to. And I've always found my wife to be a superhero, particularly over the last 5 years or so, but to put that into a book and to give kids something to be proud of and perhaps reflect on themselves all the amazing things they're capable of.
Just a bit about Jess. Jess is in a doctoral program in nursing right now at MGH. And Patrick and Jess are actually flying in a few minutes out to a Thanksgiving celebration in Chicago. So please join me in thanking Deborah and Patrick.
Thank you, Deborah. Thank you, Patrick. Thank you, Dave. And importantly, this morning, thank you to all of you for choosing to spend your day with us here at Cotting